Prince of the heart.
And Bonnie joins us now. Bonnie, apologies for what you're about to hear, by the way.
Oh, she's got a good voice.
We are going to be singing in a minute. But don't listen to her. You've released
just said I've got a good voice.
There'll be no living with her now. So the memoir.
Oh, yes.
The various points in your career, what a lovely trip down memory lane for you.
Well, that picture's 40-year-old.
Yeah, but you've aged so well. Look at the back picture as well.
Yeah, I say thank
You
God
look
for
stunning.
Botox.
Like Alison said, it's a fairy tale. I mean, your story's unbelievable.
Well, you know, I was brought up in a council house with 3 sisters, 2 brothers, and we had a lovely home life, you know.
And you was happy, wasn't it? It was a house of love, wasn't it?
Yeah, but, you know, years ago, there was no internet and all that, you know. You had to make your own fund, you know. And, but I really got into music, and especially when Radio 1 started with, you know.
Yeah.
And I used to listen to Radio Luxembourg, you know, all of a sudden, to hear your favourite music on the radio was like magic, wasn't it? You know what I mean? And then I got... I was always singing in my bedroom with a hairbrush, you know, as girls do. And my auntie put my name down for a talent competition. You know?
What a
so that's how
special
it started.
Yeah.
So she must have seen that talent early on.
Yeah, she always used to come to the house and I'd be upstairs, you know, singing, and she'd say, Gayna's got a lovely voice, that's my real name. Why don't she, you know, go into this talent competition that's going on in the local rugby club? So she put my name down. And although I was kind of like, oh, no, but I wanted to at the same time. And I was extremely shy, believe it or not. I used to be very shy.
But when you get on stage, like, even then, did it change? Did you have
I'm
that
Bonnie
moment
on stage, I'm Gayna at home.
Right. But the first time you got on stage, was that the moment where you went, oh, hang on a minute, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, and the first time I went on Top of the Pops, oh, my God, in this very building, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
Do you remember who you were on with?
Yes. Yellow, Cliff Richard. Wow. And the wonderful thing about Cliff Richard was he was, you know, he was on the same show, and my brother had asked me to get an autograph from him, right? And you know what I mean. I didn't like to ask, but I did. And just as I asked Cliff, I said, can you give my brother Paul an autograph, not an interview? And and then this floor manager came over to him and said, oh, Cliff, we got to go. So he said, I will send that to you, Bonnie, make sure I get your address. And he did.
Yeah.
He sent it, you know. And since then, we've become friends as well, you know.
So what was the big break for you? What do you think was the big break? Because it was kind of like an accident, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I was singing in a residency for like 7 years, you know, and clubs on weekends, you know, working men's clubs.
There you are.
Conservative clubs.
Yeah.
But I was singing in this club called The Townsman in Swansea, and Roger Bell, who was working for Chapel Music in London at the time, came to Swansea because he'd heard of the Vic Oakley, a wonderful singer in a band upstairs. And he came down, actually, to sign him. But he heard me singing, so he told Ronnie Scott and Steve Wolfe, who wrote It's a Heartache and Lost in France, about me. So they invited me to London to do some demos, you know.
Amazing.
That was incredible luck, you know, fate. I believe in fate.
Yeah. And then you signed Elvis's old label, RCA. So when you signed that first record contract, what was that like?
I know. 5 years on RCA, and Elvis Presley was on RCA then, you know what I mean? And they got, you know, I was there for 5 years. And then eventually I moved on to Sony because I wanted to change more into more raunchy music, you know. And I really wanted to work with whoever Meatloaf was working with, you know, and the head of the A&R at Sony said, Bonnie, come on, get a life. This is never going to happen. This is Jim Steinman.
With the great Jim Steinman.
I said, listen, I know I can do that, you know. Just ask him, you know. And they said, don't hold your breath, you know. It's never going to happen. I said, well, at least ask him. 3 weeks later, we'd invited David Aspton, my manager then, and I were invited to New York, and I had a meeting with Jim. That was weird. He put on a row of M&M sweets.
Like a little Hansel and Gretel trail.
A bit like E.T. was in the cinema at the moment.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah.
And the M&Ms. And anyway, so we got into the building, you know, eventually after all the security checks. You can imagine, you know, it was penthouse overlooking Central Park. And when we eventually got in the lift, we got out of the lift and there's this row of M&M sweets. I'm like, what the hell is that? And it led to Jim's door. It's all in my book.
Oh, there was something that I read in the book was the fact that, I can't believe this, Whitney Houston asked you for an autograph.
I know, but she was only a young girl then.
So this was before she was, like, massively famous?
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
how did you get in touch?
Well, I was in another competition in Japan, in the World Yamaha Song Festival.
Yeah.
And I think there was 32 countries that were taking part. And then they cut it down to 16, you know. I was in the 16. And then I couldn't believe it when they called my name out. I won it. But Sissy Houston, Whitney's mum,
Yeah.
was singing as well. And she came second. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And anyway, so that's when Whitney, who was a young, beautiful girl then, about 14 or something, she asked, could I have your autograph, please? I can't believe it, you know, and she went on to be this mega, incredible singer.
I
Hey,
bet
Bonnie.
she still had that little autograph.
Bonnie, when you... So, you know, talking about Jim Steinman, when you heard Total Eclipse of the Heart, obviously you've done so many songs and you've got such a great body of work, but when you heard that for the first time, did you know it was going to be this banger that's just endured? Like...
Well, David and I just looked at each other and thought, my God, this song. The only thing is, were people like you going to play it? Because it was nearly 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
So Jim had to edit it down to like 4 minutes 50, broke his heart to do that. But eventually, everybody was playing the full version.
Because he basically wrote, he was an incredible writer, wasn't he? He wrote almost like these mini operas, really.
Oh,
didn't he?
yeah, well,
Like
that's
8 or
what he
9 minutes.
did, you
Incredible.
see. He was theatre.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he actually started writing, so he told me, Total Eclipse of the Heart. Meatloaf was gutted he didn't have that song. By the way.
It wasn't.
He said, that song should have been mine. I said, tough, I got it.
I can't imagine anyone else singing it but you,
No
to be
way.
fair.
Well, anyway, he started writing it for a vampires musical.
Yeah.
But then he changed it all then. Yeah, but David and I really, you know, it was the best, you know, incredible.
Amazing.
I'm so glad I wanted Jim to produce me, you know.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. I did 2 albums with him in the end.
Yeah, what a man.
Well, let's have a little taster. Turn around.
Every now and then I get a little bit lonely and you're never coming round. I told her she got a good voice. Every now and then. Yeah.
What a voice. That is so amazing. And of course, you're on tour at the moment.
Yeah, I just done 15 shows in Europe. I got another 15 or 20 to do before Christmas and then spend Christmas in the Algarve.
Absolutely amazing.
But my book was co-written by a ghostwriter with me. She was wonderful. And Jordan Paramore, yeah. It was great, you know. I remember all these things.
Yeah. There it
it
is.
is.
Straight from the heart, Bonnie Tyler. Thank you so much, Bonnie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Lovely to
And I'm
meet
so
you.
with you now. Oh, I feel so special. Thank you so much.